Going back to Osun State, where the Supreme Court of Nigeria struck out a suit filed by the Osun State Attorney-General seeking the release of withheld funds meant for the state 30 local government council. I will be joined now by Okiki Adeniran, a lawyer from Lagos. Okiki Adeniran, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
Awesome. So, Okiki, one key point in the ruling was that the Osun State Attorney-General couldn't sue on behalf of the local council. Can you explain why the court made this decision?
Right. The Supreme Court, in the ruling or judgment, had stated that the AG of Osun State do not have the local standing to appear before it to represent the local government. And this is because there are certain duties of the Attorney General of the state. And if you look at the Constitution is very clear as to what an Attorney General is supposed to do, right? So at this point in time, the Attorney General of Osun State represented the 30 local governments. And what the court said was that the local government can be sued and they can sue. And therefore, the AG do not have any locus, for that matter, to appear and to represent the local government council. If it had been that there was a written authorization, it would have been a good thing. But it will amount to the AG of Osun State playing two parties, in the sense that representing the state and also representing the local government council in Osun State, which is against the Constitution. And what the Supreme Court has said is that, no, you cannot do this. You are the AG of the state. You cannot also represent the local government.
Right. So can you tell us how this ruling reinforced the constitutional independence of local government councils in Nigeria? And how do you weigh in on the court also rebuking the federal government?
Yeah, it's very, very correct in the sense that what the Supreme Court, decided once again has shown the independence of the local government council. Now, the issue at hand is that certain funds were not released to the state, and the AG came to say, the federal government withheld these funds from the local government because of certain issues. And now the major thing was that the federal government shouldn't have done that. And what the court said was that the federal government is not duty bound. In fact, the court used a language saying that it's a grave breach of Constitution, for them to have withheld the funds which belonged to the local government. The Constitution is very clear about this. Section 162 or 167 of the Constitution already states clearly that monies that are supposed to be given to the local government are supposed to be paid into the state joint, accounts, local joint accounts, which is supposed to be done by the federal government. Once there's a democratic elected, government at the local government level, they are supposed to, pay that money without any recourse to, without withholding or without, thinking that they can sit on it, for that matter. So what the federal government has done, or what the court has said that the federal government did, right, is correct to the extent that you cannot, as federal government, because you have to allocate, withhold monies that belong to certain persons. Because we have 774 local governments, and it means that it is showing again that local governments are independent of any other government. They are the third tier of the government, and they are supposed to run as that.
Right. So do you think this Supreme Court decision will set a precedent for, of course, other states whose local governments might face or is facing withheld allocations?
Yes, sure. It's a precedent for them. It's again reaffirming what the Supreme Court had said. If you remember, and if you backtrack, you remember that the Supreme Court had declared the autonomy of the local government, stating that the local government is independent, right? And again, the Supreme Court has said it, that the local government should be left alone. They should be given their money. They should be allowed to run, right? So this is again another decision which the local government can rely on and even bring to the public, and even challenge the federal government with that we are autonomous. You are not supposed to hold whatever belongs to us. You're supposed to run as a government, just like the state government will run, just like the federal government will run, they are supposed to also run without anybody, trying to keep them down or trying to block whatever they're trying to do. You remember that in local government, we have a lot of grassroots, individuals that they're supposed to be catered for. And this is what happens when the federal government decides not to release funds to the local government. People then suffer. Roads are not being fixed. Things are not being done locally, and that is where issues then come from. And once we cannot cater for these people, and that is where we have issues regarding insecurity and people coming up with different things, and it can affect the country.
Right. Well, Okiki Adeniran, thank you for joining us as always and giving us your insight, and we hope that this situation will be resolved. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.